Beal. It's Saturday, what is today? May 2nd, 2020, 5/2/2020. And the good news about this situation that we're all in, that we find ourselves in, is it gives us more time to reflect. And hopefully you're taking this time to do some reflection. Taking a look at your life up to this point. Knowing what you now know, what would you have done differently? There's that old saying where, man, if I could go back to high school, if I could go back to college, knowing what I now know, man, how things would be so much different. Well, with this, in basically a reset of the world, this is a perfect time to get that blank sheet and say, knowing what I now know, what would I have done differently with my health, with my relationships, and with my finances? And so for me, I've been having a lot of amazing conversations with some old friends, old clients, and more conversations with people that are close to me, to include my children. And while communicating with my daughter last night, we did a fun little exercise, the rules of life. Now, throughout my stages of life, I've had different rules, but it was fun to actually put thought into what are my rules of life. So I'm going to be sharing with you my 10 rules of life at this particular stage of all of the craziness that has led me to this point. And I'm exactly where I need to be, as you are exactly where you need to be. So I just drafted these last night in this fun exercise. And as always, what I do is something that might be considered by you to do. And with your children. I really enjoyed this exercise, and it was great to have the feedback from my daughter. And she actually got into some of her rules, which ironically are much simpler and probably better than mine. But here we go. So Tom Beal's rules of life at this particular stage, 47 years old. 1, I live my life by design, not by default. And then I went to describe that. As the architect of knowing where I am and where I am wanting to be and go, then thinking, speaking, and acting in alignment with what I want, one step and day at a time. So that kind of dives deeper into one of the best audio trainings that I've probably ever listened to up to this point is by Earl Nightingale, The Strangest Secret. And if you've not listened to that, or even if you have listened to it hundreds of times, it's always a great audio to re-listen to. So basically, the strangest secret in the world is we get what we focus on. We get what we put our attention towards. The irony of this particular stage is most people are putting a lot of time and energy into fear. And so what we give energy to grows. So rule number 1, I live my life by design, not by default. 2, I eat intentionally to fuel my trillion-dollar body. All right, I go on to describe that. In a healthy manner by choice, not out of convenience, boredom, social settings, peer pressure, procrastination, or emotions. I've been doing a lot of testing with fasting. And if you've yet to plug into one of the most powerful things I've found in my life is controlling my mind, related to the simple thing like eating. And when you can put that much control into the fuel you put into your body, it leaks into other areas of your life. You now have harnessed more responsibility, more control of your mind, which, circling back to Earl Nightingale's Strangest Secret, when you control your mind, you have the steering wheel and the driver's seat of this journey we call life. So, eating intentionally. Through fasting, I have been able to control eating out of boredom, eating out of procrastination, eating out of convenience, social settings, peer pressure, and emotional eating. In this shutdown, I know it's been a joke that, I'm putting on weight in this shutdown because here we are bored, and here we are, the routines have switched. So number 2 rule of my life is I eat intentionally to fuel my trillion-dollar body. And let me just clarify that. Some people, Tom, how can you say you have a trillion-dollar body? Well, it's not just me who has a trillion-dollar body. Every other alive human being has a trillion-dollar body. Think about this. Think about our soul coming into this amazing vehicle, that our soul's eternal, but this vehicle has a shelf life. And we never know what that is. But if we live to a healthy age, 70, 80, 90, who knows what that date will be, this vehicle is the only one we got. And with all the medical advancements that we've had over the decades and generations, we're having a really unique time to take care of this body and lead a healthier, happier, longer, more fulfilling life. And compared to other bodies, other vehicles, it's quite amazing. I think this is the $1 trillion body in the universe. And I always give this analogy. So with the co-founder of Microsoft, Paul Allen, dead, with Steve Jobs dead, of their $50 to $60 billion worth of wealth, if they had a way for one day to come back into your body, just like you can rent yachts, just like you can rent jets, how much do you think they would rent your body for one day? The answer would be all that they have, $60 billion. And they would probably go borrow another $50 billion to have one more day in your body. So that's why, yes, you can rent yachts. If you didn't know that, those are huge. You can rent Paul Allen's yacht. It's owned by his estate. We saw it on this past cruise in January in Curacao, and it's for rent. I think like $100,000 plus a day, maybe $150,000 a day. You can go rent his huge, like $1 billion yacht. Well, ours would be much more of a daily cost, in the billions, to rent our body for a day. So let that settle in. And that's your body, my body. It doesn't matter what size, what type. As long as you're healthy and can fog a mirror, it would be worth billions to rent. Think about that. So if that's the case, how are you fueling your body? How are you taking care of your body? So think of a vehicle. We wash it, we clean it, we take care of it, we fuel it. We don't put sugar in the gas tank, right? We take care of this small value vehicle, yet we poison our $1 billion, $1 trillion body. Think about that. So that's number 2. Number 3, I invest my most precious asset of time properly and wisely. I'm going to add that in. And wisely. And with that, I do what I want, when I want, with whom I want, even if that is nothing with nobody. In this day and age, I think this is kind of a neat place to be, where we can recognize it's okay to be by yourself doing absolutely nothing. And hopefully it's not just detaching and escaping into games or Netflix or other methods of escape. Hopefully it's a time where you can go into your brain, into your heart, reading books, writing in journals, having deep conversations. This is a day and age of escapism. And it's not just the escapes that we had when I was growing up, of alcohol, drugs, sex, etc., gambling. We now have all that stuff right on our phones, right? All of the escapes that are here, which is crafted. All of them are crafted with the intention of getting people addicted. So think about that. Invest your most precious asset properly and wisely, and that is time. Number 4, I am self-actualized, seeking no one's approval of me, my choices, or actions. I've been to a black tie party where I was the only one not in a black tie, and I was asked to sit at the head table. And there was talk, who's that person not sitting at the head table, right? To be comfortable in your own skin, even and especially when you don't fit in. I stood on stage in a Borat mankini in front of roughly 500 people. It wasn't a simple thing to talk my mind into doing, but it was definitely uncomfortable. And definitely, some people say, well, yeah, you're fit, Tom. No, like that was part of it. But the deal is just to do that. There's a whole video I did. If you search Tom Beal Mankini, you'll find how that came to be. Actually, if you go get my gifts at tombeal.com/present, all of the courses there except one are for free. They have a price tag on it, but when you click on each of them, you'll see a free option except the one. And there's that there. So number 4, I am self-actualized, seeking no one's approval of me, my choices, or actions. What other people think of me doesn't make me less or more of who I am. There's a common theme in business and in life. Some will, some won't. So what next? Some are going to like me, some won't. So what next? And it's actually SW4. Some will, some won't. So what? Someone's waiting. I used to focus in, on a presentation. There's 500 people. There's thousands of people in the audience. Line for hours of people wanting pictures and hugging and thanking me. And there's one person like, man, I didn't like that presentation. I'd be like, what? And it would get to me like, hey, that person is in a position wherever they are, and that's their choice. And I've chosen to not give a crap whether I'm accepted or not. And there's much power and freedom in that. So that's number 4. Number 5, I put my oxygen mask on first. I take care of me and my needs first so I can be best prepared to help and care for others as I feel called. And that goes back to the airplane analogy. When we're on the airplane and you're getting the lessons of what to do in an emergency, if the oxygen masks fall on and you are traveling with children or people who need care, be sure to put your oxygen mask on first, then help your children and others. Why is that? Because if you feel that you're so selfless and like, you know what, I'm going to help my kids first, and you try to put their oxygen mask on first and you now pass out, you're not able to help anyone else. It's actually going to hurt everyone else. So in life, I growing up around 4 divorces and 6 marriages, wanted to be the fixer. Always wanted to help people. And there came points in my life when I'm up in the middle of the night, 2, 3 in the morning, helping other people while they're out partying. And it hit me like, wait a minute, I'm doing all this work and helping them while they're out partying. What's wrong with this situation? I definitely would, if it hurt me to help others, I still would hurt me to help others. And it took me a while to evolve emotionally to say, you know what, I appreciate you reaching out, but here's what I will suggest. Right now, that does not fit into my schedule. I won't be able to help with that. And be confidently and boldly okay with not helping people when it doesn't work for me. All right? 6, I seek to improve my health, key relationships, and finances each day. This circles back to one of the big lessons I learned from Tony Robbins, CANI, constant and never-ending improvement. Each and every day, I'm, as you heard in one of the rules, monitoring with habit. It's not really with much willpower at this point. It's just habit and part of what I do, of making sure that the fuel I'm putting in, of the liquids and the foods that are going into my body, are fueling my body properly. But also, your body needs movement. Just like any other vehicle, if a car sits in a garage and doesn't move at all for 10 years, it's going to have more problems than it had it driven on a regular basis. And same thing with a boat, same thing with an airplane. Any other vehicle, if it sits, that's the worst thing for it to do. So if you are sitting and collecting barnacles, collecting dust, adding on pounds, moving, your body needs movement. Ships weren't meant to be in harbor. Cars weren't meant to be parked for decades. Your body wasn't meant to be stationary. To keep it active makes it more of a vehicle that will last in a healthy, happy, productive manner. All right? And finances, right? Finances. With that one, it just is more choices. I've had money and I've not had money. And money doesn't make you happy, but it does give you more options and choices. And guess what? The trajectory that most people show of like, hey, here's where I was, and holy cow, it went like this, generally hasn't been the entrepreneurial trajectory of myself or many of the other friends. There's spikes and there's drops and there's spikes and there's drops. It's a real emotional roller coaster to be an entrepreneur. But to just make sure that you're making continual progress with your finger on the pulse of what's working, what's not working, what's next. So every day, seeking to improve my health, key relationships, and finances. That's number 6. Number 7, this one may be interesting for people to hear. Here's number 7. I'm a sovereign God among sovereign gods, although most are not aware of this. Not a God among inferior beings. And on the same token, no one is superior to me, although some may mistakenly feel that way. So there's a quote that I read a while back that says, I'm a God among gods, not a God among inferior beings. I feel each of us are the eternal soul in these vehicles, and I recognize the God within each and every one of you. I recognize and appreciate the God within me, and I'm not a God among inferior beings. I'm a God among other gods. At the same time, you may have seen some people who are very narcissistic, very cocky, very controlling, who feel they're better than you. Well, that's a mistake in their perspective and judgment. Good for them, but we are gods among gods, not gods among inferior beings, from my perspective. And I added in, I'm a sovereign God among sovereign gods. And then I put parentheses, although most are not aware of this. Most have not gone on the search to find the God within them. They're searching everywhere, high and low, depths of the sea, the highest mountains, looking for that God. And the funniest thing that God did was hide where God was hidden, and it's inside each and every one of us. So there you have it. So around those narcissists and things like that, you don't let them bother you. You don't let them make you feel inferior. You just recognize, okay, that's their perspective, and you keep moving on with your life, and you circle back to number 4. I'm self-actualized, seeking no one's approval of me, my choices, or actions. I'm totally fine with people opposing my choices or actions. What other people think of me doesn't make me less or more of who I am. So that number 7 leads to number 8. I treat my fellow man with love and respect unless and until they desire to harm me or others. Then I will respectfully remove myself from their presence, and when necessary, protect myself and others from their ill will. So I see that God within them, but I also recognize, those who don't see, they see themselves as that superior being and put others down. In some cases, that actually transitions into harm, emotional, physical, and other harm. And there comes a point where you just can't deal with that, and you shouldn't deal with that. So keep your boundaries strong, and keep your awareness strong, and your alertness open. And when you're in the scenario of people that are emotionally or physically harming you, remove yourself from that. So then it went on, then I will respectfully remove myself from their presence, and when necessary, protect myself and others from their ill will. Number 9, I share hope, love, and peace as I walk my path, speak my words, and do what is mine to do boldly. I'm just doing what I do. I live my life. And in doing so, I've been able to help others see a greater version of themselves. If someone asked me, many people ask me, what's my superpower? My superpower is seeing the amazing version of you when you might not even be able to see it. That's my superpower. I see that God within you, even when others, don't see that God within them, don't see that capability that they have. And similar to Mike Tyson, if you study Mike Tyson's career, he had someone like that, Cus D'Amato. Now, Mike was a thug. Mike was a criminal. Mike was robbing people, beating people in juvenile detention. And Cus took him into his house and told Mike, you're going to be a champion. You're going to be a champion. Mike's like, who's this white? And this is all in his documentary. Who's this white dude? I'm about to rob him and head back to the city. Who's he telling me I'm going to be a champion? I'm no champion. He's like, but Cus believed in me and put me on a path to where his belief turned into my belief. He believed in me so much that I then believed in myself. That's a similar gift that I have. I see the best version of people before they can see it. And not only that, from me being that consummate student, I have a path that can put them on, similar to Cus, putting Mike on a path that can lead, that led him to being a champion, that in my case can lead people to actually realizing in real-time life, turning their dreams, which maybe they weren't even capable of having at that point, into reality. And it's happened time and time again. So that's number 9. I share, what happened here? Okay. Number 9. I share hope, love, and peace as I walk my path, speak my words, and do what is mine to do boldly. That was number 9. Number 10. I am a consummate student who studies, walks his talk, and teaches those who are ready to listen. David, what's happening? Let me see if I can pull this in here. David, good to see you here, man. Hope all is well in your world. And David says, love these. These are great. Thanks, Tom. Good to see your face. Looks like you're out nice by some water there. I love water for sure. All right, so number 10, once again, was, remember, I just made these last night, and it was a fun exercise to do with myself and with my daughter. So number 10, I am a consummate student who studies, walks his talk, and teaches those who are ready to listen. And it circles back to that SW4 equation as well. Some will, some won't, so what? Someone's waiting. And I like to just keep it simpler. Some will, some won't, so what? Next. So yes, in doing what I do, some people are like, whoa, how did you, like there's a question, how did you do that? How do you do that? Like, how did I become the national bicycle champion? How did I become the #1 honor graduate out of United States Marine Corps boot camp? How did I receive 3 meritorious promotions in 4 years while in the United States Marine Corps? How did I get chosen for the MESEP program, Marine Enlisted Commissioning Program, and turn that down? Well, I had some circumstances where I didn't go that route, but then got out after 4 years. Then went on to become #1 in 5 sales organizations. And then left the corporate world and went into the entrepreneurial world, quickly skidded my face on the ground, hard lessons learned, then was able to team up with several key people, Mike Filsame and Rich Sheffrin, and then a whole bunch of other internet marketers that were in the mastermind, the syndicate. And through those years was able to produce tens of millions of dollars in results, produce a life that I had never dreamed possible, growing up on welfare, growing up around a 17-year-old mother and a 19-year-old father who had me as teenagers, growing up around the 4 divorces and 6 marriages, going to 9 different schools by 8th grade, and all of that, and that national champion bicycle rider, all the fun stuff. How did you do it? And I narrowed it down of how I did it. And the greatest part is it wasn't just for me. I then taught others how to do it, how to be that better version of themselves, how to believe in themselves, how to see that bigger version first. And so I've put together something for this particular time in history with the worldwide lockdown, which will be coming out of fairly soon, hopefully. And you can go get this for free. And all you need to do is go to tombeal.com/present. TOMBEAL.com/present. And there you're going to find a whole bunch of courses, a whole bunch of interviews with myself and many amazing people that I've been fortunate to work with and interview. There's one course in particular that many top names that if you're in internet marketing you would know invested $5,000 each to be at this event. I'm giving that to you as one of the many gifts. It's thousands of dollars of real world value for those who are ready, dig into, get the epiphanies, connect the dots in your mind, see that bigger possibility, believe that it's possible for you. And then the interviews and courses also have a game plan that you can implement to get from where you are to where you want to be. So it's all there for free. Now, the problem is things that are free, people don't appreciate or respect as much. So a lot of people will go get it, and a lot of people will have it sit in their digital folders collecting digital dust, meaning they won't ever dig into it. My hope is that's not you. If nothing changes, nothing changes. Go through, go get the courses, go get the interviews, see which ones resonate, which ones call out to you. Schedule that into your schedule and treat that appointment as if it was with one of the most important people in the world, because it is. It's with you. Here's a news flash. You are the most important person in your world. So schedule that and schedule which course you get called out to you, and get in there and study it, learn it with a pen and paper, and take notes, and then most importantly, go implement it. And at the very least, if this was pretty cool, I would suggest you go sit down with a pad and paper, or digitally. I did it with my iPhone and Evernote. Jot down your rules of life, your 10 rules, your 5 rules, your 3 rules, and see how, where you are at this stage in your life, it's the foundation for the best version of you that is yet to come. Thank you for joining me with this. I hope it was helpful for you. and it's been fun for me. Now it's time to get on with the day. I got a busy day. I'm glad I got this done. It's done at 9:37 a.m. this Saturday, so I got an amazingly awesome project that is in works. But in the meantime, go to tombeal.com/present. All of them but one are for free. Yes, they have price tags on them, but when you click on each of them, it will have a free option. All that you see there is for free, except for one that is not, but it's heavily discounted. But all those are there for you to take advantage of and learn from myself and other top experts who will share the insights to get you from where you are to where you want to be. All right, go rock it out today. Have a great one. Have an awesome weekend. Till next time, make today great.